everyone, it's Donna here from Donna's Vintage Cottage, and I am here today to show you my latest journal that I just completed. It was very much inspired by several different people here on YouTube. The first being Jackie Chimes, who in almost all of her journals uses these images, these flower fairy images. The artist is Cicely Mary Barker. And I also just started seeing Wendy from Wendy's Journal Adventures starting to use these images as well. I have this book called Flower Fairy Stories from the Garden, which is where almost all the images in this journal have come from, and a lot of the words and things, decorations throughout the journal as well. You saw a few weeks ago I showed some journal cards that I had been making with images from that book, that children's book, and I looked for some different inspiration on something besides regular tags and journal cards. And Nancy, who is Wishes and Weeds, she's up in Canada. She's a journal maker. She has an awesome channel. I'm going to put a link to everybody I mentioned. I'm going to put a link to their channel down below. She did a series of journal embellishments using only the Edith Holden Diaries of a Edwardian Lady book. And she did a whole series on them, and I used that series and used only images from this Flower Fairy book to do the same techniques that she was doing. So I'll point out those as I go through the journal. So let's get to the journal. It is 9 inches tall by 6 inches wide, and it has a 2-inch spine. And it's fabric on the outside and on the inside, and there's cardboard in between the fabric, so it's still a pretty substantial cover. And also there's a layer of felt in between the cardboard and the cover to it, so it's a little slightly soft. On the cover, and it has this beautiful fabric that has a little bit of shine to the gold shine around the flowers. I don't know if you can see that. I picked this image for the cover because he just looks so hopeful, little flower fairy. The image, I covered the image with matte medium to protect it, and there's canvas behind and a little bit of lace and this beautiful beaded, I think that was an earring in one point in its life, but now it's a decoration on this journal. Some buttons. There's a book plate here that you can put whatever you want in there. And then this beautiful beaded dangle. I did not make this. I wish I did know how to make this, but I don't think I'd have the patience for it. But isn't that beautiful? And the enclosure is some purple. I dyed some seam binding purple to kind of match with the, and this is a deep purple up here as well. So let's get started. Oh, and there's inside, there's all of the signature centers. There's a bunch of little butterflies dangling from the bottom, the strings on the signature centers. And there's lots of colorful laces and trims and some dangles, all kinds of colorful things coming off the sides. Come on, just a little bit. There is a pocket in the front. There's nothing in the pocket right now. I left a couple of places for whoever this journal goes to can put some things of their own. On the inside the front cover it says, "There's a family of flower fairies hiding in every garden." And there's this cute little baby fairy down here. Some lace on the front of this signature. There is a tuck spot here, some stenciling, and at the top of this very large Journaling tag is just a little dangle with a tag, a button. Oops, uh-oh. I have to better attach this little teeny tiny butterfly that's dangling from this, so I need to fix that. And this, it was inspired by Jackie Chimes. I've seen that in her do a similar thing in her journals. And over here it says every flower has a fairy, and there's a digital stamp on this page. This is one of the tags inspired by Wishes and Weeds. She did this whole thing with Edith Holden images. There's a tag that comes out of here. There's another little tag here. And then there's also a tag here. All with Flower Fairy and a rose image. This one has some tatting decorating it, and a big paper clip holding it in with some fabric and some ribbon at the top here. This botanical page. Here's another tuck spot with a Flower Fairy tag. Some stenciling on the back of that. This is a page from a botanical book. I think this one was the Women of Flowers. This side, this flip out envelope, this idea I got from Ideas Times 2. I'll put a link to their channel down below. There's some, it's been sprayed with glimmer mist, and it flips up. You have some journaling spot here. There's a little pocket with a couple of journaling cards in there. And this pulls out, and there's a journaling tag there. And this image was perfect for this pocket, because the girl fit there, and there's a glare, I'm sorry, the little boy was down here, so it was perfect. This is a fabric doily that I sewed a piece of coffee stained paper onto, so you can journal on this side, and this is fabric. You can attach a photo there or whatever. This is a vintage poetry book. I think the other side of this page is, I picked it because there's a poem about flowers. Some stenciling along here. This is the beat dyed paper. Images from the book. This is, oh, actually this is the page from the Women of Flowers book. And there's a little fairy hanging here. This is actually Tinkerbell, I believe. And some ruffled lace along the edge. The back side. So lots of place for writing in here. The center of this signature, all the signature centers have pages, complete pages from the children's book, the Flower Fairy book. Very pretty, colorful, very colorful book. And so is this one. I've got some flowers going down the side there. This is one of my, I've started creating some of my own, like Tracy Fox's. These now I'm doing them in PowerPoint, and I'm using scanned vintage books, and it makes a nice border around it too. So I'm starting to create my own little one. This one actually is a Tracy Fox. I still use Tracy Fox's. I love them. But for more of a variety, as I'm finding books that I like, I'm using them to make my own little tags. This is the back side of that Women of Flowers book, so you can read about one of the women illustrators from the 1800s. There's a little tuck spot down here and a couple of Mrs. Coggs images here. I believe that was from the pollinators bundle that she has. This is another idea from Wishes and Weeds. It's a tuck spot. There's a big tag in here, and there's a little tuck spot in the top of this for a little tag. There's more from that poetry book. Oh, this isn't the one about flowers. There's one later on in the book. These are images from the children's book, and it fit perfectly in this spot. Another one there. There's the back side of that doily. Back side of the floral image. Another botanical book page. And this is one of the images from the book that I fussy cut out, and I just put it on the back side of this just printed page. Over here is a little booklet that has just all kinds of colorful papers in it. And it starts off with Dear Diary, which is one of the words from that Flower Fairy book. Pretty girl on the fussy cut and put onto the cover. This is an embossed envelope with, this is from the book, and this is from my stash, and I put some bling on it. And then inside of the envelope there is a poem about fairies. And that just sits on here. Here's one of Rodote's flowers from one of the two books that I have. And there's a dragonfly charm on the edge of that page. This is just a single page flip up. You can journal on there, and then there's more space for journaling here. It's just a tea-stained writing paper. It flips out. It's one of the images from the book. This is actually a CD holder. This is half of a page. I was cleaning out one of the areas in my office a couple of weeks ago, and I discovered this box of these CD holders, and they're just the right size for a journal. And inside it I have an envelope with collaged images from the book, and then another journal card inside. It just slips in there, and it's clear, so you can see if you have something pretty, you can still see everything on it. Here's the poetry book that has poetry about spring and flowers. This is the beet dyed paper image from the book, and here is the fortune cookie for this journal. For those of you who are new to my channel, in every journal I put a little, I call it a fortune cookie, because inside of it there is a fortune from a book that I have on 365 fortunes. And I never look. I have a whole bunch of them made up in a bag. Whenever I make a journal, I just pull one out and put it in here. I don't even know what this one says. This is a decoupage napkin on this page. Scrapbooking paper, and on the back, this is actually a scan of one of my mother's cross stitches. She had given me this one to frame it for her, and before I framed it, I scanned it. So this is my mom's cross stitch. So you have a piece of my mom in here. Some lace on the edge of this paper. There's a botanical book again. And this here flips out, and there's some more in this pocket here, place for journaling. This is just the beet dyed paper that opens up, and you have journaling space. This idea actually came from the Book Vandal shop. I saw her do this in one of her journals, so I had to try it too. So I'll put a link to her channel down below, the Book Vandal Shop, for those who aren't familiar with her. And I just have a clip on here just to hold it closed, keep it from flopping, with some fabric at the top. Here's a fabric flip with a little butterfly charm at the bottom of it, and some pretty fabrics and laces, and you can journal underneath there. This is one of the journal cards that I made, and I just have it attached on with some washi, and it flips open. You can journal in here and journal there. And inside of this signature is another full page spread from that children's book. This one has a lot of the flower fairies on it on one page, and you can see all the butterflies dangling down here. Those are the strings from the signature. The back side here, this is another fussy cut, and it didn't exactly, it was too big for the page, so I just kind of carried it over and carried it onto this side. And another flower from the book. This is a dictionary, part of a dictionary page with the definition of fairy, and I got this idea from Wishes and Weeds as well. And it's also a tuck spot. You can tuck something in under there. Botanical book. Another tuck spot here with a large journaling card with more images from the book. Page for writing, the back side of my mother's cross stitch. Another tag from the book, isn't she cute? More images on the back from the book and stenciling. Decoupaged napkin up there. This is more of that poetry book, Spring Song. And here's the back side of that CD holder with another envelope that's been collaged with images from the book. And another journal card in here, stenciling. Come on. Just slips in there. Oops, got a string. This is just a page for journaling. Fussy cut flower and vintage lace there. This is the back side of that Ridote flower. And the last signature starts with this. This is one of the images from I can't think of it, but if I remember, I'll put the link to that down below as well. And a pretty flower charm there. And just a scan of some sprayed crinkled paper. Here's an envelope here. This idea is from Wishes and Weeds as well, that series. On the front of this envelope, there's a tuck spot with a journal index card inside it. And then inside the envelope, there's another little booklet with some raspberry tea stained papers and some stenciling and some fussy cut flowers. And it just flips over the page. I have it held on with a paper clip with some fabric. There's a Edith Holden page. There's some, I believe these are Tracy, well, this one's mine, that one's definitely Tracy Fox. And the back side there, this is a big journal card with a fussy cut image from the book, and that flips open. You can tuck something in here as well. It's a book on flower arranging. This is another of the ideas from Wishes and Weeds, these little circle tuck spots. And I believe she said she got this from somebody else, and it might have been Wendy at Wendy's Journal Adventures. I can't remember. But these ideas just keep getting passed on and on and on, and you never know who originally came up with it, because the ideas have been passed along so much. There's a fabric ruffle at the top here with a button and some stenciling at the bottom. Some grid paper. This is some vellum, some blue variegated vellum that I have had in my stash forever, and I don't think I've ever used a sheet of it. So I discovered it the other day when I was looking for something else, and I pulled it out, and it's like, okay, the color goes with this journal. And I printed on top of it one of the images I found from a vintage book. So I thought that turned out really nice. Children's writing paper. This is just a tuck spot with a guest check in it, and it's on a shorthand book page. I covered up the back of it with just some beet stained paper. And inside the signature is another double page spread from the children's book. Very colorful. And on the back I've fussy cut a little girl, and she's looking across the page to this butterfly that's on the shorthand book page. Here is another tuck spot. This is obviously an image from the book with another journal card inside of it with some stenciling on the back. Here's the back side of that children's writing page. Here's the back side of that vellum, and I put a flower at the top here, and then after I glued it on I realized, oh crap, this is vellum, so it's showing on the back side. So to kind of cover that, I put a little fabric flip here, but there's the glue showing through on the back side. So don't look under there, leave that down. This is I believe this idea, it's a piece of scrapbooking paper, and it's folded over both sides and then stitched on here. I believe this one was from Ideas Times 2, either that or the book Vandal Shop. I can't remember which one that I saw in one of their journals. But there's a little pocket on the front with some journaling cards tucked in there, and you can journal on the back. And the same thing on this side. There's a couple of little journal cards, and you can journal on the back. Is the back side of that flower arranging book. And this is another of the ideas from Wishes and Weeds from that series. It's a tuck spot made with two tags, and then there's a collage on the top of it. The tags don't do anything but hold, it's a tuck spot. So there's another journal card in here, and they all have brightly colored laces coming off of them. More writing paper. This is just, this flips open and for more writing, and then this is some pretty blue, looks like cherry blossom fabric with lace on the edge. This is the back side of that Edith Holden page. I didn't like the colors of it. It didn't go with the book. It was like fall, like brown and orange. So I just covered it up with some of the raspberry tea stained paper, which matches what's going on over on this side. And there's the back side of it. This one was purples, so I left the purple because it kind of went with the purple in the lines on this graph paper over here. Of course, the Tracy Fox label. This I tried some printing. It actually went off the page, but I kept it. I thought it looked kind of cool. These three little butterflies peeking off the page there, and then a image from the book on this scanned crinkled paper, and then the back of the last signature, and then in the back there's a big tuck spot as well, and inside it I have a big journaling card with an image on the back. This actually started off being, I was considering putting all of this onto this, but I didn't want to hide that pretty fabric, so I just left it that way. And I use it as a big journaling card, and there's also some colorful papers in the back that you can either use for extra journaling, or you can cover up some of the printed pages to journal on. And my handmade by label on the back, and that just tucks up into there. And that is my Flower Fairy journal. I hope you liked it. I hope you found some inspiration. I will put the links to the ladies who inspired me in various portions of this journal. She is for sale. I did have a lot of extra, and I'm going to make some more of the journal cards from that book. And I will be offering some of these for sale in the near future. I want to make a few more. That's all for today. Stay tuned for this weekend, though. I have some really pretty stuff that I'm going to be selling. Saturday, 10 a.m. Make sure you click the little bell icon next to the subscribe button if you want to be notified whenever I upload a video. And if you enjoyed this flip through, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And also down below is a link to other items that I have for sale at the moment, so check that out. That's all I have for today. Bye bye.